Hey, this is Dr. Darwin, the new dentist coach, with another episode of Ask Dr. Darwin, where you ask questions about getting into dental school, surviving dental school, getting into residency, and then life after residency as well. Be sure to uh, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Dr. Darwin Speaks, and turn on those notifications. Just punch it, punch and punch it. I don't want you guys to miss uh, any of the podcasts and any of the shows that come out on a weekly basis. Today we're here with a special guest. We're going to be learning about how how to buy a dental building. How to buy a dental building. Yes, it is possible. Yes, people are doing it. Yes, people have dreams and aspirations, and they get it done. So today we're going to be talking with Dr. Dr. Oh God, Dr.
Collins, Collins,
Collins,
Collins. Yeah, you go.
Dr. Collins. I want to call you Samuel.
I know.
Dr. Samuel Collins, about how to buy a dental building. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm blessed, man. Highly favored. Can't complain, bro. You know?
Yeah, bruh.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
yeah.
I'm so
So,
glad. So glad we got you on, and also so glad to hear about your most recent success. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
all right, cool. Well, I'm Dr. Collins. This is I've been knowing Darwin for a long, long time. We met back in when we were actually students ourselves. So I'm telling our age, man. So both the members of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, root to the
There you go.
bros.
There you
But
go.
been practicing dentistry, man. This is the 21st year. Practiced mostly in Atlanta for a long time, and um, decided to make the transition to Texas, Houston, Texas. Um, my wife and my children, and so again, I've been practicing 21 years. I do all facets of dentistry. So one main thing is I've always had a commercial lab component. So we do a lot of dentures, do implants, of course, doing now sleep apnea, getting really involved in that.
Wow.
It's probably like 5,000 docs that's actually doing that, and I one of those in that new field. It's killing us. I mean, that's a very very good field to get into. Outside of that, man, from doing the implants to sleep apnea, dentures, I love. Uh, my practices have always done because of my lab component. We were ranging between 80 to 100 dentures in a month. Most dentists do about 10. So uh, that's one of the things we do. I also have a name similar to yours is Ask Dr. Tooth. We actually have that. I have that name patent, so if you want to try to take that, it's too late now. But it's Ask Dr. Tooth, and you can follow me on Ask Dr. Tooth, or you can follow me on Dentist in Manville. Dentist in Manville. Manville is M as in Mary, Anvel. Dentist in Manville on Facebook, Instagram, and all that kind of stuff.
That sounds good, bro. So tell us, dental building. Your most recent project I heard is that you just built and transformed, just bought a building and
Hmm.
transformed, and you have a new office. Is that correct?
That's correct. So
That's
I
great. So
I
tell
bought
us a
a
little bit about that. Tell us about what made you decide to to build, or to, yeah, basically get a dental building.
well. This is my third practice, and two of which were in Atlanta, Georgia area, and I was a traveling. I guess you called me a traveling dentist at one point because my wife and my kids were here in Texas, and I would fly back and forth weekly between two states. Did that for a good number of years, and that became tiring. So I made a decision. My wife and I made a decision to for me to either to move to Texas or bring her to Atlanta. For me, it was best to move to Texas. But anyway, man, I decided to make that transition, and so I was trying to. I called this bank, East West Bank. A little small Asian lady came by the practice, and she sat there, and she was the vice president. And we started going through my numbers, and I was saying, well, hey, I need to find me a location so I can try to, put an office there. I need to find somewhere I can lease. And she told me, she said, well, Sam, Doc, listen, why? We're Chinese. We don't we don't lease, we buy. And I was like, oh, I can do that. He said, your numbers are good. I said, oh. I had no clue that really truly, just I knew that the cost of opening a new office is already expensive enough. And then when you put on the actual purchasing of a practice, a building, a structure, and combine that with the actual equipment and uh, renovation of that property, it can be quite a bit. And so
Right.
I didn't think that was even possible, but here I am. And so it was that little small Asian lady, man, that got me on my mind to think that, this is the way to go. So when I went back home, I just started looking for stuff and was blessed to find a building um, on a very major highway in Houston, Texas. And also, I'm one of the only dentists in the area right now.
That's great. That's great. So tell us a little bit about how the building and the space that you own now, that you built out, how it's structured and how it's laid out.
Well, we're I'm on a major, like I said, major highway. Probably this area is I don't know if Jersey or I know Atlanta was pretty packed, but Texas, especially Houston and Dallas, it's a dentist on every corner. I
Right.
mean, what I'm saying? You're right on top of one another. And so first of all, it was God's blessing. I mean, to be honest with you, I believe that God is my savior, and he's able to do remarkable things. And um, it was almost like the building was gifted to me for some kind of reason. But I'll tell you, I search for something, and you find what you think that's gonna, in an area you think that's gonna grow, um, and you want to try to find something that's, first of all, trying to buy a piece of property land and just putting a practice on it, it's almost impossible because just of the cost of trying to do the plumbing, the renovations of it, the startup of it. A lot of time that's going to be very, very expensive. Just that alone. So you really need to try to find areas where it's up and coming. You know, newer areas where the property is a little more cheap.
Right.
Find someone find somebody who's in trouble. Research it first. Research the area. Research the thing. Those are the positive about having your own building. Um, you want to research and figure out exactly where you want to be, but also research the type of construction that you want to have. Now, for me, how it worked. I drove down the street constantly and found a building that was abandoned, had been sitting there for about 10 years, and
Mm.
it didn't look pretty, And but I had a belief that we can make an amazing transformation. So I just sent Darwin a picture of.
Yeah, I want us
Hey,
to take a look at that. I'm going to share this for you, those of you that are watching. For those of you that are listening, you have to go to the replay of this, and Dr. Darwin speaks on my YouTube channel. But we're gonna share um, this video of this transformation. When you guys see this opening up now, you guys see this, you're gonna be blown away, blown away. So hold tight, watch this. Let's see here, get it back. Is that you, Doc, right
that's
there?
me. That's me. That's me on my knees always.
So that's the inside. Wow.
It was actually worse than that, but fireplace was still there.
Fireplace. Okay.
We kept that there. These are some of the walls that's up now.
Wow.
I have a lake
Yeah, that's
behind me.
Texas.
You see the lake? Yeah.
Yep. Manville Dental and Implant Center. Dentures, fast braces. Denture Lab. Yes. All right, let's go inside. Ooh, wee!
Young brother.
Look at that. Look at that. Love that reception area, man.
That's this right here is a nice little CBCT Prexion.
CBCT.
If you
Okay.
want, if
Oh,
you,
I love that picture right there.
yeah, man. My chairs I actually got from China. These are Chinese. These are China chairs. Paid a third of the cost, and they work. They work beautiful. Beautiful.
Wow.
That's the arm of a God, the helmet of salvation. I put that all in the office.
And there's where you're located.
That's
Wow,
yeah.
man.
Appreciate it, man.
Phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Thanks, bro.
Phenomenal.
Thanks, bro.
Man, congratulations.
Yep.
So
Appreciate it.
that was the building from a building was there for 10 years to a building that's now going to be there much longer than 10 years as a new renovated Manville dentistry and implant center. That's great, man.
Right.
So you mentioned it a little bit about one of the challenges that you started to have was just trying to find a location and also changing your mindset, right? Changing the mindset of going from leasing to now even going to buying, which someone kind of help you change your mindset. If you could just kind of share with us also two other biggest, your biggest challenges with this project and getting and buying a dental building.
Well, first of all, not only the location, there has to be some type of income. Most lenders are not going to just give you a building and pay for the building and the renovations of the building, and it's very difficult to do that. So a lot of times you're going to have to. I'll say this for a new grad, right, coming right out of school. I think that a lot of times we'll try to jump into this game pretty quickly. If you just say I've been in this game for 21 years, you've been in this game about 21 years, and I think you need to have some substance behind you, unless you just have parents with a whole bunch of money to spend.
Right.
But if you don't have that, like I didn't have that, I think you need to first learn your craft, learn how to be the best dentist that you can be first, right? And then once you've learned, the money's going to come. But once you learn how to be the best dentist that you can be, then you can incorporate the business aspect of it. Some people try to go in so fast and they fail because every dentist is not necessarily a businessman.
Right.
They're great dentists. So when I made the transition, like I said, I had two practices that I had prior to that, and I had money stacked up to be able to put down and be able to purchase part of that building. Now, on my end, what I initially did, because of my finances and also my my credit was pretty good at the time, I was able to buy the practice, put my money down, and buy the building. So I put portions of my money down, and I was able to get a loan based on my other existing practice to be able to be completely offset. So I got what they call a free and clear loan. It wasn't actually on the building itself. I just got I needed $150,000, $200,000. So because I was able to actually show that I had income still coming in from the office, my before office, they just gave me $200,000 anyway, right? So I was able to use my money and their money to buy the building free and clear. So the building itself nobody had any. It was owned. It was. Matter of fact, I did some crazy. I put my wife's name on it because when you own something free and clear, you want to make sure that you don't have anybody coming after you and put a lien on it. But there was no lien on my practice. It was on free and clear, and I was able. So what I'm saying to you is that I think prior to all those things, you need to invest in your knowledge base, know know your skill level first, and then learn the business aspect of it. I found that for me in the beginning, I like to buy practices that were older guys that were about to retire. You know what I mean? They weren't doing a whole lot of work, but the patient pool was there, and you can come in and quickly um, double your numbers. And by doubling your numbers, then you can go to the bank and say, "Hey, I can afford this," and
Hmm.
so they'll be more willing to go ahead and actually uh, fund you. Sometimes, what do they call it, unsecured monies. So I was in my initial thing was I got an unsecured loan. Um, I had half the money, and I got another part of it and unsecured money to be able to actually pay for the building itself. So I owned the building clear and free before I did any renovations and got any other money
Right,
from
right.
the bank.
So, like for a lot of these new dentists that are here that are listening, many of them, all this stuff that you're talking about is it's like talking uh Martian to them right now. But I
Yeah.
think I think the most important tip or advice that you mentioned, which is know your craft first. You got to invest in your training and the clinical aspects, even though that's the area that of course we're trained in. And then as you're learning more about your craft, then you can branch out a little bit and you know see what others are doing. Being
Hmm.
in different offices, maybe you may be able to latch on to a mentor who may be able to help you and guide you. And but like you said, one of the things that helped you kind of propel and expand rapidly was the fact that you were very strategic.
Hmm.
You looked at practices where the docs were retiring so that you had cash flow already
Hmm.
built into the practice that you were going to be building and
Hmm.
buying, whereas you didn't have to start from
Right.
scratch.
Right.
You
And
didn't have
and,
to
and,
start
and
from
so
scratch, and that's key.
and so what happens too a lot of times, you know, young docs will go in and they'll see a practice that say, okay, the practice is doing $1 million. All right, well, the practice is doing $1 million, and if this practice is a fee for service office, or if this practice is a PPO office, it's not Medicaid, nor is it a DMO, then the value of that practice may be 75 8% of the practice itself. So you're coming in off the top off $1 million practice, paying for the practice at $750,000 to $800,000. So you got to pay that $800,000 off, and also pay for the actual lease rental space that you have to do because you're going to lease that place. So you may have on that
And salaries.
and salaries and everything else. So before you make any money at all, you're probably looking at $15,000 to $20,000 just on those factors alone, outside of the salaries. So
Right.
if you
A
include
month.
that a
Right.
month, and
Right.
so it's best if you can go in and truly find a practice that most time the numbers are down. The practice may be worth more, but if it's an older cat, he's probably referring out all the root canals. He's not doing any third molar extractions. Definitely not doing any implants. He's not doing a lot of different works. He's just doing fill and drill. That's that practice that you really want to get. And
Right.
once you grow that practice and that income. So first, what I did, what you learn your craft, find something you can buy into. All right, learn your craft by working for others. That's able to help you. Right.
Hmm.
Um, Stay away from corporate dentistry. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Just because it can get you in trouble. And grab practices that you can learn from, but you can get a nice, the money is already there the same day you open. That's amazing. And so for myself, once I actually acquired the building, then I wanted to actually learn Texas. I had worked in Georgia for so many years, so I wanted to actually feel the city. So I became an associate for about 2 years, learning the systems, learning all these big corporate stuff, whatever's going on. I worked for a corporation for like 2 months, and I knew that wasn't for me, but I just wanted to get an idea of what they were doing. And so once I did that, then it was time to go ahead and start the processes of getting um, finance for the renovations of my building.
Right.
But
Right.
the cool part about owning your building is that the amortization time is longer. So if
Mm-hmm.
I own the building and I'm doing the renovations of that building, if I can find a bank to not only, because they're going to use your building for collateral, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if and they probably will include that building as part of your monies for the renovations. Now, if I own the building and I'm getting it renovated, a lot of times I can find a bank that's also going to throw in the equipment, and they'll give you that 25-year, 25-year amortization time. So now this huge loan that you may have, you're not paying it all in 17 years, and your note is whatever else.
Right. You can do it much longer.
You can do it much longer.
Now,
You know,
what's amortization? What's that? Explain
so
that.
amortization means the length of time that you actually you're
Payment.
holding a loan. You're
Okay.
paying a loan off. So a
Mm-hmm.
20-year, 25-year. So for example, on my particular project, I may be paying $6,000 a month, for all of it, right? Whereas someone, and I own it, right? So when I'm done with it, I'll always own it for my children,
Mm-hmm.
myself, or whatever else, right? Commercial property,
Right.
and it'll make me money, and I'll still generate income later on with it.
Right.
And so the blessing is if you go and you purchase, let's say, lease an office, you're probably at a 30. If you're looking at a 3,000, 2,000, 2,500 square foot building, depending on where you are, you're looking at about 150, $175 a square foot to just lease. So you're probably looking at about $4,000 to $5,000 on that size location, right?
Right. A
And that's
month.
a month, and that's depending on where you are. If you're in Jersey where Dr. Hayes is at, you're probably looking at $8,000 a month just on that lease. Out here in Texas, you probably can get that same thing for about $5,000. Now, that's just the lease, right? So you still
Right.
got to go and renovate it, but you're renovating something that doesn't belong to you.
Right. Right. And whatever you renovate belongs to the leaseor
Right. So you
after the lease is up.
after the lease is up, and you can't get that money back. And so um, it's a scenario where I think for me, what if you can find those old cats, old guys, a lot of them are either they own their buildings from back in the days, or they're in some very good areas where their lease is not really that high,
Right.
and you can
Right.
you can kind of afford that for a while. And all that does is just generating more income. You have to plan that stuff, strategize it. You know what I'm saying? Plan the fact that you actually want to go ahead and own your building later
Right.
on,
Mm-hmm.
but start small. And
Right.
another thing too is the thing is about a lease. Then here comes the I guess uh, the bad points of having your own building, because when you have your own building, it's yours. I mean, you can't go anywhere, right? Whereas with a lease, if something doesn't work out right, you can
Right.
leave.
Right.
you
You
know.
can leave, or the people who own it are going to help you fix it up. They're going to help you give some improvement.
Absolutely,
If there's
absolutely.
a leak, there's something going on the exterior and part of the interior of the building that affects your space, you'll get some
Mhm.
help. So,
Absolutely.
I mean, that's an advantage as well. So let me ask you this, because I'm sure we can talk a little bit more and go into more detail about that whole process. And
Right.
for many of the listeners, that's probably where they want to go, but it's just the fact that they can see and have a vision of where they can go to as far as getting a dental building. I think for many of them is the first step and part of that process. But again, it's a process,
Right.
right? It's not
Exactly.
going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in 2 or 3 years. It may not
Right.
even happen in 4 or 5 years. But during that point in time, you're building your ability to get to that end goal, that
Hmm.
big vision, which is to
Hmm.
have your own building,
Hmm.
to own the property.
Hmm.
Um, and you're really talking about being a dental entrepreneur, because you're doing the dentistry part, but you're also doing the business part as relates to owning property,
Hmm.
real estate,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And I think that's key to know about. And as people are coming out of residency, coming out of dental school, coming out of associateships with with looking for the next step. What's
Hmm.
next? What am I
Right.
going to do next? What can I do next? How do I
Right.
do it? And I think Doc, you're going to be a great resource to a lot of the people who have that similar aspiration,
Right.
right? Who
Right.
aspire to do the same thing, that want to do the same thing, but just don't know, because we don't, we're not taught this in dental school, and we're not taught it in residency, and there are a little bit more CEs and groups that are out here now that kind of teach some of the aspects, but best teacher lots of times is experience.
That's right.
And you
That's right.
got the experience, my brother,
Right.
and
That's right.
and we applaud you, and we're so happy that you've gotten to this next level.
Right.
21 years later, three
Right.
practices later, you're at this
Right.
next level,
Right.
because people need to know how to, be able to navigate that. Um, One thing I wanted to ask you real quick is, knowing what you know now, what would you do differently, if anything?
Hmm. You know, um, that's a whole different ball of wax right there, man. Listen, um, well, I think that just patience, man. You know what? I bought this building in 2015,
Hmm.
and we just finished the project um, in December. So I remember, um, it's a little difficult when you're trying to do conventional and your skin looks something like mine. I mean, and unfortunately, the banks most times when you're talking about commercial or you're talking about conventionally, not SBA but conventionally, a lot of times the banks only, especially smaller banks, a lot of times they only have so much amount of monies they're going to lend per year, and so they have to pick and choose, especially when you're talking about certain kind of income. Who are they going to pick and choose? Who are they going to lend to?
Right.
And one of the problems with that is that you sit in front of these guys, there's only three or four of them, and they don't look nothing like me, and they make a decision if they want to do business with you or not. So all I'm saying is this: perseverance is something I will continue to do, and I would say continue. There's nothing really I wouldn't say to do. Uh, I wouldn't do anything differently because what I did was I continued to fight for what I truly wanted. And I think that's what we have to do is just know that it's out there for you. Um, Owning your own building, there's very few people who would. I don't really know too many docs that actually own their own building, to be honest with you, especially in a major city. Um, you go in South Carolina somewhere in a small area, that's one thing.
Right.
Um, but owning your own building, doing the whole reconstructions of that, that's not a lot a lot of folks who got that going on like that. So I'm blessed to be able to say I'm one of the ones who does. But I'm also saying I have it because of my perseverance, and you have to fight for what you want.
Right.
And I think that for me, at 45 years of age, I'm telling my age, we're at the age now where it's time to go out there and get it to get prepared for that last stage of our life, which we hope should be our retirement. So I want to make sure that my structure, my
Right.
children, and I still have things going. Even if I want to walk away from dentistry, well, I still have these buildings now because I got one. Once this bank starts seeing the money's flowing in there, then I can get the two and three other buildings. Because I would never ever lease again in life,
That's right.
right?
That's right.
Um, so what we're trying to do now, and what we're going to do is, and Dawn, I'll talk to him about this later on, but get younger cats to come in and work with someone like myself, and so we can get you to a point where you can buy into something that we got going on, and kind of help you grow.
Yep.
Because
And
whatever
continue.
and continually,
Yeah.
they do it all the time. We don't do it enough.
That's right. That's right. And that's part of the teaching process. That's part of the process that, again, unfortunately, you won't learn in dental school. You have to learn it out here, and that's why it's so important that people do this. You gotta network. You gotta come together. You gotta
Right.
go to meetings. Go to the Hinman. Go to the ADA. Go to the NDA. Go to the AGD meeting. Interrelate, interrelate,
Right.
relate,
Right.
interact, network with people uh, that have years of experience, but years of experience that's based on know-how, both things that they were successful and the things that they were not successful in.
That's right.
Actually, the failures are what get you the successes. So you
That's
want
right.
to talk to the people that have had some failures so that you can see what not to do, but so that they can also share with you how to go about it and how to get and build and have your own dental buildings. So that's great, man. So we're
Phenomenal.
going to be wrapping it up a little bit now. Actually, could you just share with us some other projects that you're working on right now, and maybe we'll talk about them
Okay.
maybe in length. Maybe if we have some time, we'll talk about them in length.
Okay.
Have you back on another podcast. But what
Cool.
are you working on right now?
Well, man, this has been a very busy year last year, 2018, man, getting prepared for 2019. Again, we, finished up this office and we've been open now for about 5, 6 weeks. It's been a very phenomenal time. The numbers were really, really good. So we've been really blessed. But also, I wrote my first book. It's called Tell the Truth and Shame the Devil. And sometimes we give people power over us when we don't accept our own truth. So what you're hearing right now is a brother who, who's done some cool things, made some bad mistakes and whatever else, but still through it all was able to persevere and still fight for what he wanted to do and was able to get it. No matter what hurdles I caused myself and whatnot. And so I'm very excited about this year. I mean, who knew my book is number one right now? Amazon newest hottest book release. I'm just very excited about that, and uh, you know, so I would applaud any of you if you want to talk to me. You can follow me at you can come follow me at Dentist in Manville, Facebook, Twitter, and what's the other Instagram? We old, so I'm trying to get all this stuff together.
What's a good way for people to get in contact with you to find out more about the book and also just more about your practice? Is email good? What's your
Yeah,
email?
you can also do an email. Um, uh, Dr. Collins at dentistinmanville.com.
Dr. Collins at
At
dentist.
Dentist in Manville. Manville again is MANV is in Victor EL.com. It's pretty
Is
simple.
that dentist just singular or plural?
Dentist singular.
So dentist in Manville, Manville.
No, in MANVEL. Manvel.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, VAL. Dot
menvel.com.
com. Yeah, DennisInManville.com.
That's
And
awesome,
and
man.
check the website out, man. Dennis in Manville.com is the website, man. We have also just real quickly we have a phenomenal team that does a lot of my web projects. I get a lot of my stuff out of China. You heard me say my chairs from China. I have a connection speaks Chinese that does all my stuff for me, man. So I'm one of those kind of cats that I ain't trying to spend all. I'll just kind of give you an idea. Chairs normally cost you about 60,000 to 70,000 bucks. I got 8 chairs, and you saw how nice they look. I paid 22,000 for them. So I'm just trying to just share. Holler at me, and I'll help you build your dream, man.
That's great, man. Well, we got a lot of listeners that can really find some value in what you share with them, and many of them are getting ready to do the same thing that you're doing now, that you've done for 3 times now, and they're or they're planning and thinking out their master plan. So
Yeah.
I think this information is very, very beneficial, and they can reach out to you. And I thank you so much for your time. And I think we're going to have to do a part two, both on more about the day-to-day operations of a dental office and a dental business, but also talk a little bit more about that book and what has inspired you to write it, and how you can be a dentist but also be an author as
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
right?
Number one author, baby.
Number one author. There you go, man.
First book, man. Many
That's
more to
great,
come.
man. That's
Yeah,
great. So,
man. Yeah,
so you
man.
guys listening, I'm hoping that you guys have found some value in what Dr. Collins has shared with us today. And you too can be number one. If you guys have questions or want to hear more content like this, please shoot me an email right here. If you're watching newdentistcoach@gmail.com, you'll see it up here too. newdentistcoach@gmail.com. Also, check out the next video that's coming over. It's right here. There's one here, and there's one right here. Check out those next videos, and hopefully they'll bring some value to as well. Dr. Collins, my brother,
Yeah.
congratulations.
Appreciate it, dog.
Best of luck, and
All right.
continued success to you, and we'll see you and talk to you soon, okay?
All right, man.
All
Thank you,
right,
dog.
thanks.